Good afternoon. It's Friday and it's Assisting Hands Richmond Friday finish. So happy for you all to be here. And I'm going to take a second and get my screen share ready for you all. So really excited to have you all here again today. Again, this is the Friday finish with Assisting Hands. I'm Eric Rohr. I'm the owner of Assisting Hands Richmond, where our goal is to help you remain happy and at home. Just as a reminder, we provide home care services for really anybody of any age. We've had clients from as young as 4 all the way to 100 years old, and we provide care wherever anybody calls home. That'd be in a traditional home, assisted living community, independent living community, or a skilled nursing facility. So anyway, we're really excited to be here, and I'm just going to go over a few of our highlights before we get to our shout out guest. So first of all, I've been pushing this out on my LinkedIn and Facebook pages. We have another dementia workshop. This one's the effective communication strategies. As always, these are led by Kathy Hamlin, our executive administrator and certified independent positive approach to care coach, which is a TIPA Snow-based dementia care model. So we're really excited. You must register via Zoom. If you don't see it either on my Facebook or LinkedIn pages, please reach out to me and I'll make sure that I get you the registration link. The next thing is this week, I got a little swag from the Alzheimer's Association. We made it to the champion level in terms of fundraising for the Assisting Hands team. So I was really excited about that. I got a little medal, a little sign that we put up in our door. And as I've been trying to get everybody to either join or donate to our team, this year's walk, while not be the traditional thousands of people gathering in a single place and then set out on the same course. It'll be smaller teams that can be done virtually, kind of in your own neighborhood. We're actually going to meet at the Assisting Hands Richmond office and then take off from here. So that's October 31st, but feel free to join or donate to the team. So I'm excited about that, and we're well on to completing our team goal. And I think we're just a few dollars away from getting to grand champion. So put us over the edge and I'll have another little medal so I can wear that around my neck when I walk around the house and feel important. All right, so that brings us to the shout out of the week. So I'm real excited about this week's shout out, and that is with Dave Tasto. So Dave is the owner of Assisting Hands in Boston, and he's also now an author of Thriving at Home. So welcome, Dave.
Thank you, Eric. So happy to be here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's great. Well, just so everybody, I met Dave at my very first franchisee conference, and made a great connection with him and his wife. We were down in Mexico, and I've just stayed in touch with him a lot, and we really collaborate on a lot of different ideas, and I think he's really creative in thinking. And so much, he actually went out and authored his own book called Thriving at Home. And I've been was really impressed with all that, and he's just launching that this week. So I thought it'd be great for him to come on and talk about Thriving at Home, since it's definitely kind of tangential or actually directly related to what we do in our Assisting Hands franchise. So Dave, why don't we just talk a little bit about the book and tell me, like, what made you think about writing the book?
Well, very, very excited, Eric. Just published this week, so hot off the press. I would say the impetus for the book, or the source of the idea, was seeing firsthand the challenges that folks have in going to hospitals. Just my experience in Assisting Hands and in home care in general. When our clients go to the hospitals, it's tough to manage. The hospital takes over meds, so not everything flows as smooth as it might be at home. Not to mention, the emotional, physical, and even financial challenges of going to the hospital. But particularly this spring, we saw some of our clients dial back on care. If they were only working with us or we were only working with them a little bit of time during the week, family caregivers actually took over some of that support. And seeing the need for trained family members, or at least family members that are aware and informed of what they can actually do at home, so that not so much that they wouldn't do certain things on their own, but just so that they're aware and they can feel empowered to doing more, keeping their loved ones safe at home.
So this book is kind of written for someone who is not specifically trained in home care to help reduce risks and things that may require them to go to the hospital if they're not managed properly.
Yeah, exactly. No, you don't have any formal training. This is intended as a guidebook for family caregivers to keep their loved ones, as the slide is saying here, safe at home. A big piece of it is talking about falls prevention and what you can do, steps you can take specifically at home to minimize risks for falls, as falls are one of the number one admission drivers to going to a hospital in the first place, particularly for older adults. It also covers, chronic conditions, which happen to be the leading cause for readmissions to hospitals. So if you have a certain chronic condition like congestive heart failure, diabetes, stroke, or others, it puts you at a very high risk, on top of already Medicare seeing on average 1 in 5 Medicare patients going into the hospital within 30 days from discharge. So 1 in 5, forget about the financial, just the emotional toll of 20% of our seniors, after they come out of a hospital are going back in 30 days. And I think it's up to like 25 or 30% in 60 days. So it's a huge toll on families when this happens, particularly for folks that have some cognitive conditions like dementia or Parkinson's, where the meds and everything else are kind of dialed in to keep things smooth at home.
Yeah. So how does this if this is kind of built as a guide for family caregivers, how does this kind of weave into Assisting Hands and kind of your approach with your business?
Thanks. No, in home care, I've seen all of the things that our caregivers get trained on, just as a matter of course, and their education and ongoing training, their in-service training sessions that they get, do give them a lot of skills to care for folks in homes, right? So seeing the value of the team members that we have on our teams and what they are able to do in homes, realizing that, myself, who haven't had, caregiver training or other family members not having that experience, I can't imagine how it must be, particularly during a pandemic, in this COVID era, where folks are already leery about going to the hospital. So how can we empower them and give them the best possible chance at a good outcome, in terms of remaining at home?
Yeah, that's great. Now, on top of the fact, I'm assuming there are some things in this Thriving at Home guide that your caregivers can use as well. And how are you getting this information to your caregivers so there's a consistency in approach between the kind of agency or the professional caregiver and the family caregiver? Yep.
So a lot of our caregivers already have experience working with folks, to prevent falls or, with specific chronic conditions like diabetes or CHF, congestive heart failure. But some of our elite caregivers might have, only 2 or 3 out of 5, say, conditions, or, the falls prevention if they're not, up to snuff in certain areas. So we've actually kicked off with a national caregiver training firm called Navan, a certification program, or Thriving at Home caregiver training certification that will enable our elite caregivers to have yet another, set of tools and techniques in their tool bags to care for loved ones.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. I think that's really important as well. And then I guess the caregivers being trained specifically in the Thriving at Home program can help then reinforce that with the family members who are there, when Assisting Hands wouldn't be there. I think that's
Yeah.
great.
Say in between our shifts, or even for, the stuff in the book is for family caregivers that even those folks that aren't using our support right now, but may at some point, depending on how things go. We've seen recently, Eric, as I'm sure you have seen, families who are caring for loved ones, and it's been 4 months or more that they've been caring for loved ones at home, and it's been very challenging for them. So at some point, they might need a bit of respite help, and we can be there at that time. The book does contain, a whole section on, how to find, the best home care for you, for your individual situation. So if you are looking what questions to ask, how to go about it, other tools and resources for them as well.
That's great. So if people want to get the book, I'm going to put some information up. And so I guess they just contact you and they can get a copy of the book. Yep.
Yep. We have a website for the book specifically. It's thrivingathomehealth.com. But feel free to reach out to me. We have an email address as well, thrivingathome@assistinghands, and that'll reach me.
That's great. This is definitely something, I think you and I have talked about this offline, is something I'm really interested in bringing to the Richmond area, as well as, my caregivers, to make sure that there's a nice, consistent training on all these things to help lower hospital readmissions, because that's only good for everybody.
Yeah, we'll make the training, available to all assisting hands if possible. Yeah.
That's great. Any final thoughts?
No, thank you again for the opportunity. Very happy to be working with you and being on the assisting hands team with you, Eric, and best wishes. Hope everything goes well. I'm hearing a lot of great things about these, Friday 4:00 events. So keep up the great work.
It's great. I just have one final question. Can you make sure we dispel the myth that you don't have to have a sign like behind each of our heads to be an assisting hands franchisees? It's not a requirement, right?
No, but when you see a good idea, definitely ask to borrow it, which is what I've done here. So, definitely picking up some tips from Eric for sure.
That's right. We need a copywriter. Maybe we can sell them to the other franchisees. So anyway, well, great. Thanks a lot, Dave, and
you're welcome.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
That's Dave Tasto, author of Thriving at Home. Saw the contact information, or you all can reach out to me and I can certainly put you in touch with Dave. Last thing, just before we wrap it up for the weekend, I'm really trying to beef up my YouTube channel. We've been putting out not only the Friday finishes out on the YouTube, but also our dementia workshops as we finish them. So please go out and go to YouTube, search for Assisting Hands Richmond, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you can be notified when we have new content out there. That's it for this Friday. Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll catch you next week. And that's it.